And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and it's the Network Marketing and Leadership Show. And it is an unbelievable day. I hope you're having nothing but fun out there. And I am here to tell you today's show is going to be off the chain. Next week, Pat Quinn. I don't know if you guys remember who he is. He's the guy that works with
Pete Vargas.
Pete Vargas, yeah, I lost his name. And they killed it with Eric Worre on how to speak to crowds and all that jazz. So Pete Vargas, Pat Quinn next week. But this week, we've got Ferny, and his last name is Ceballos. And somebody made sure. Did I say that correctly, Ferny?
That was perfect, sir.
Oh my gosh. Who was that? Who was the guy that told us?
Christopher Hussey, who loves you.
Christopher Hussey called me on the phone and said, do not mispronounce his name. So Adrian gave me like a tutorial because I blow everybody's name to smithereens, even though I am a contact mapper, and he finally wrote it on a card here. So I got it. So it will not get messed up.
That's
and
great.
then we've also, so Ferny went to MIT. And bright guy. So I knew we needed some help because Adrian's not the sharpest tack in the box either. So I thought maybe we'll get Rick Manelius, also from MIT. These guys were there at the same time, I think, and we would have ourselves a very, very deep conversation about the fact that the most powerful man in the world had 80 million followers on Twitter until somebody decided to flip the switch and all of a sudden he had no followers on Twitter anymore because he wasn't on Twitter. And it is crazy that anybody's got that kind of power. And I have not given you any kind of political interpretation whatsoever. It's just crazy. Anybody's got that kind of power. So I thought I would bring my lookalike buddy, Richard Brooke, along too. So you can see him on the screen. And I told these guys on the show, they said, why is he coming? I said, because he's such a curmudgeon, he will have something important to say. So it is going to be an unbelievable show. Hi, Adrian.
I am so excited. Hello, Dad.
I am completely pumped. And one of Brooke's pet peeves is the commercials in the show because of all the survivalist stuff. So he's going to have to deal with that. And the second thing is me looking down at my phone to see comments and things like that, which I swear I won't do. We're also streaming live on Clubhouse, which is pretty doggone cool too. So we are taking over the world. Ferny, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Tom. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're honored, and I want to know about you. You've been in the network marketing. I mean, when I met you in Las Vegas, I mean, you were over in a corner, and people were just walking over there to get a look at you, much less hear you, because you've made such a difference in the little category that you've created inside of network marketing to help people improve their business. How's that going, and what are you doing?
I mean, it's great. When I got started in network marketing in 2005, I started doing what I was told, friends and family, home meetings, home parties, hotel meetings, did a lot of traveling. And I did that for about 9 months and was relatively successful. I actually got some traction. So it's not like that stuff doesn't work, but it was also not very enjoyable for me. It felt a little inauthentic for me, especially with my background as an engineer. And so what led me to what I do now is essentially finding a different way of just not doing network marketing, doing business in general and doing it online. And so I've built, multi-million-dollar companies online, training companies, direct sales organizations. And now I just devote myself exclusively to training network marketers on how to take their business online, especially today and in the times we're in. Online has all of a sudden become more relevant than ever. 100% of network marketing is online right now.
Yeah.
As if you try to do a home party, you're considered a bioterrorist. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we're all for that. I mean, Richard Brooks all for that. I'm all for that. And we are traditional network marketers at the point that you bring the lead into the funnel, and then you got to treat that person that came into the funnel like a human being. And that's when network marketing takes over, because if they join you with a click, they leave you with a click. And so many people are under the misconception that you can build a multi-million, billion, trillion, zillion dollar business without ever talking to anybody. And that's what we take great exception to, right, Brooke?
Right.
Wait, ask Richard. Let's hear if he's got an opinion. I'm dying to hear this. What do you think there, hair on fire, man?
You're looking for some controversy. You want me to be controversial today.
No, we want you to just be your normal self. You don't have to fake anything.
Yeah, well, Ferny, I don't know you, but I'm fascinated to learn because, yeah, I've seen a lot of people build temporary networks online. I've never seen anybody build one that lasted for 50 years. And I think that's because most of them, if not all of them, focused on the upfront, like, how do we get people in? And they just thought, hey, the whole thing's just going to be built online. Tom and I have seen some systems that go back, 1995, the beginning of the internet, power line systems and all these crazy things that just automatically were going to build your team for you. And of course, the internet, social media, online is an immensely powerful way to get in front of 7.5 billion people. It's kind of hard to do if you live in, Paducah, Kentucky. 20 years ago, you were going to get in front of Paducah, but you weren't going to get in front of 7.5 billion people. And so I think the world is fascinated with how do we do that? And of course, what Tom and I are fascinated with is, okay, how do we do that and hang on to them, which is heart to heart. I don't know of a funnel that creates the heart to heart, but I'd like to see it if you got one.
I think he does. Talk about it, Ferny.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. The thing is, the funnel doesn't end when somebody joins your team or buys from you. It's actually just the beginning of the funnel, because the funnel is about getting somebody to make incremental decisions to make a bigger commitment. And someone just joining your team, to me, is a small commitment. You still gotta build that relationship, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's through posting value to your group, and make sure the value continues throughout. And so the funnel should go all the way towards developing somebody to be a leader, somebody that wants to grow big. And if somebody at some point says, I'm good where I'm at, I don't need to grow any bigger, that's fine. That the funnel ends there for them. So, when you create, I specialize in systems, whether it's a system for bringing in a lead or training systems, creating as much leverage as possible on your organization using technology while keeping the heart and letting people know that you care. So that's my perspective is that you can leverage technology to be more efficient and save time and do things like what we're doing now. We're able to speak to a big group of people without ever leaving our homes. Technology has given us leverage. And so that's a good thing. But what we share and how it impacts people, we have to fundamentally understand who our team members are, and we have to continue. We also need to focus on developing leadership as we identify people who are starting to rise up and take initiative. You got to train them differently than everybody else. And so, just like network marketing, there's large, in corporate America or corporate around the world, there's companies with thousands and thousands of people, and somehow they are successful is because they have effective leadership development systems. Yeah. And the good companies make that person in the warehouse that's loading boxes feel just as special as the people that are higher up. And so they leverage technology as well, just like network marketers can as well.
And so I love that. And I think that's such a great analogy to think about the person loading at the loading dock in the warehouse in a corporate sort of a scenario and how that applies to network marketing. So as you build these systems and use technology to make things more efficient, what do you think is the biggest thing? What's the biggest tip to make sure that the heart is still part of that conversation and part of that interaction?
Yeah, well, you're not going to automate the business. You're going to automate through a combination of systems, but then people have to be a big part of it. And if somebody is just getting started in network marketing or a direct sales business, they got to be willing to talk to people one-on-one, because at that point, they're going to be most effective one-on-one. And they haven't grown a big team yet where they need any type of sophisticated system. But when they do, when their team is big enough where they can't do everybody one-on-one, well, now there's some sort of system and training that needs to be given to that person. in order for them to elevate and then identify, leaders on their team that's growing, so that now that new person that's just getting in always has somebody that's taking care of them, that's communicating with them, that's getting them going, even if the main leader is no longer able to spend as much time with every single person on their team. And so that's how you maintain the heart, is that there's always somebody there that can connect with people. Where network marketing goes wrong, where leaders go wrong, and I've seen 7-figure earners that are miserable in network marketing, it's because they're the chief problem solver for every single person in the organization. They have very little leadership. And so whenever there's a problem, whenever something happens, whenever somebody has a question, they're the one getting hit up, their inbox is blowing up. And that's not an effective way of leading a team. Even if you are making millions of dollars, it's kind of a miserable existence. And so when you develop leadership, as your team grows, your time, it either stays the same or it contracts, because you've done an effective job of developing other people that are going to take care of other people.
We agree with that 100%. That's right on the money, isn't it, Rickard? I mean, that's where we lose them, is if we never develop the human connection, we're making a mistake. If we don't let that human connection turn into leadership development throughout systems, we're making a mistake. And it is really a big, big problem, because even leaders never try to develop that massive leadership necessary to duplicate themselves 10 levels below themselves. They're just using their personality, and that never ever creates massive duplication, because you can only duplicate that 4 or 5 levels deep, right, Brooke?
Yeah, I think, the concept that we're talking about is the leaders that have the ability to inspire and build a big team, they always outpace their ability to duplicate their leadership. And leadership is that's a lifelong art of character and vision and motivation and energy and style and charisma. And so the person that builds a team of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, they don't duplicate that same kind of leadership. They can attract the people, but they don't duplicate the leadership. So you got to have a system that takes maybe some of the content, some of the styles, and just duplicates it, right? And simplest way to do that is videotape yourself and set it up on, hey, watch this video, then watch that video, then watch this video.
All right, let's take
leverage.
We got
massive leverage.
We're on the Genesis Communication Network. Richard Brooke loves the commercials coming up.
Let's go to break. Hey, let's go to break and learn about silver impregnated bacon.
We'll be back right after this on the Genesis Communication Network. If I don't get kicked off the air because of your sarcasm, it will be unbelievable. That's all I want to tell you. The guy has given me a free show for 12 straight years, and Brooke hates the radio commercials. All right.
He's actually just extending the commercials.
That's exciting.
I think it's creating curiosity on what's he's railing about.
Amen.
Right. You can buy fake National Guard uniforms today on that stage. You can buy all kinds of stuff on there. Anything you want.
Yeah, that's the same station that Alex Jones is on. So it's just a beautiful thing. And so Adrian, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, so let's say hi to Clubhousers. Thanks for listening in with us. We are live on Facebook, and we're doing a radio show as well. And we are going to have some live Q&A at the end of the show today. And so just want you to know that that's what's coming up. We're going to have some fun with that. And I just love this conversation. I love what you shared before the break, Ferny, around the importance of that human connection. And so the question I have for you on the break is how important is it to have systems around the way that you develop relationships so that doesn't fall through the cracks just like everything else?
Yeah, a system is there just like in any business. So it has to be analogous to business. Like if we're going to talk about network marketing as a business and present it to the public as a business and an opportunity, then what works in business needs to also work in network marketing and vice versa. And so systems are there for when all of a sudden things become repetitive, when you have to repeat yourself over and over and over again, or do the same training over and over and over again. Well, what if instead doing that hour-long training, it was part of some portal where people logged in, watched the training, and then hopped into a Facebook group where you can answer questions around that training. That's leverage. They're getting the same value. There's some interaction where they feel taken care of because you're answering questions. Maybe you do a 15-minute Q&A instead of an hour-long presentation on the same stuff, but then you do a 15-minute Q&A where, again, people feel taken care of because you're answering their questions, clarifying things. You're going to learn something from those Q&As, meaning you might need to record another video and put it there so that you have that covered. And eventually you kind of just build it out, and it has to be designed because some training, you can't just dump a bunch of videos in an area and think that's going to work. Some training is for everybody to have access to. Some training is for certain ranks. Some training is unlocked only for leaders that have certain responsibilities on the organization. And so you have to have a system that's flexible in unlocking training that's appropriate for people. But the beautiful thing about a system is that somebody 50 levels downline from you is getting the exact same training that your frontline is. And then you're still investing your time to support people, but with a lot of leverage.
I'll bet the art, Ferny, that you have mastered is the transitional stickiness from one video to another. Because like you said, you just can't just throw a bunch of videos up. Nobody will watch them. And so you got to motivate people to watch the video. Then you got to find out, did they get what the video intended to impart, right? So there's art there, I'm sure, in like transitioning people. Okay, now watch the next video, but you can't watch this video till you watch that video. And let's find out what you learned from the first video. That art of moving people through the system, that's probably your brilliance. I'd love to learn more about that.
Well, let's try to do it during the radio show instead of the commercial. So hang on one second.
Am I supposed to
And
know?
we're back. It is Tom Chenault, and it is the the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Richard Brooke, Rick Manelius, Ferny, and Adrian. I didn't want to take a chance on his name. Ferny Ceballos. That's exactly how to say it. And this guy, attractionmarketing.com. So you need to go to that website. And I'm in love with this guy. The very first time I saw what he was doing, I was in love with it, but I couldn't afford him. And I wish to this moment that I would have been smart enough to pick up on what he was doing when I met him, because I would be successful today. This guy has absolutely done it. And we went and looked, and then we did some due diligence on him. This guy is all of it in a bag of chips. So Richard Brooke, who's a mentor of mine, and ironically enough, Mark Lalonde, the TikTok guy that we interviewed a couple of weeks ago that was just bad to the bone. Today we said, did you ever get to talk to Richard Brooke? And he about started crying and said, no, he's my mentor and I've never gotten to meet him. So we actually hooked that up today too. But don't you know, I mean, I love this panel. I mean, you are the deepest people I know. And when you guys hear Rick Manelius and Adrian talk about Rick Manelius as we go into the next break, as we talk about social media and how you are all a hostage to it, you're going to be blown away. But let's just continue on for a couple of minutes left in this segment. The introduction's longer than the segment now at this point. But where were you, Richard Brooke? What were you talking about? Do you have any idea?
When
you were talking about the break, what should have been heard in the show?
Oh, well, I was just
stickiness, Richard.
Telling Ferny, I don't know Ferny either, but I just have a sense of listening to him articulate, and based on your introduction, that he has mastery of the system. And the mastery, I think, is not the videos. It's the pathway from one video to the next video to the next video. Call it a funnel, if you will. Because I've talked to so many people that have systems, right? They have, well, I have my 5 videos up, I have my training program up, but nobody goes through it.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I've always felt is when it comes to training, if I'm going to do an hour-long segment, the actual content in the segment might be 20 or 30 minutes. I'm going to spend 30 or 40 minutes selling people on the content, selling them on why they need to watch this video, or why they need to understand this distinction, or why this truth is true, because information is just information. Falls flat, it's boring. We've got to sell people on what we're teaching them to do.
Mhm.
And I imagine, I'm only imagining, but I'm going to go do my homework, because there's no doubt I can afford Ferny. If you can't afford him,
That
Tom,
was 5 years
then
ago when
I
Hammock.
obviously can afford him.
That was when Hammock introduced me, and Fernie's got a 2-for-1 special. So that's why I even let you on the show, because we knew we would use your money and my personality.
I'm going to find out if this guy has the secret. I bet he does.
He does have the secret. So, Fernie, we're going to go to a break in a couple of minutes, and I want to talk about attractionmarketing.com. I want you to obviously drive people to that and tell them a compelling reason why they want to do business with you. And I see John Hammock is listening, who is the introducer of you and I, and a dear friend of mine. So take it away.
The commercial or to speak?
No, we're not in a commercial. Gee, many Christmas. No, we're your commercial.
All right, got it. My commercial.
Talk about
yeah.
attraction
Got
marketing.
2 minutes,
Yeah.
Ferny.
All right. Yeah. So, we specialize on everything network marketing that is digital. And so when it comes to lead generation, everything from organic strategies where you're investing your time to, connect with prospects for your business, all the way to more advanced strategies, whether it be advertising. And so anything digital, also specializing in creating training systems and helping and supporting leaders create leverage and not have a situation where they, hit that 6-figure mark that they've been shooting for, but they find that it's a nightmare business because they have no time. They have no time freedom that was promised. And that's not because of network marketing. That's because no effective, systems were created. And so, so like network marketing has shifted online, especially in the past year, where literally 100% or close to 100% of network marketing went online. And our organization, our business has exploded because we've always kind of been there providing those solutions for people that want to do it digitally while still maintaining the heart that we talked about, still taking care of people. So it's systems, but it's systems for people that need to be taken care of. And that's who I work with. And we've helped, so many clients around the world start from zero, take an existing team and, go digital with the team while maintaining and expanding their business.
All right. I know you guys are excited about this, but we get to take another break, and we are on the Genesis Communication Network. Thank you, Ted Anderson. I so love you for putting us on the radio all these years, and I love your commercials. And we are going to come back right after this with Ferny and Rick Manelius, Richard Brooke, and Adrian Chenault.
I'm the best thing that ever happened to Ted Anderson.
You really are. So here's the deal. Contact mapping. Adrian is the face of contact mapping. So all of you need to know that. You've always known it. All you see is Adrian, but the man behind the microphone is a guy named Rick Manelius, graduated from MIT, got his PhD from MIT. I met him in a coffee shop. I did a coffee shop interview on him. He was working at some hotshot company down in Denver, fell in love with Adrian's vision, and these two have built contact mapping. And rarely do we get to have him on a commercial with us. So why don't you just lead into a commercial with Rick Manelius where I go get a glass of water.
All right, sounds good. So you said I'm the face of contact mapping. I don't even know that I'm that. Rick is the brains, but he's also shockingly and in the greatest possible way, so much of the heart of contact mapping. And that's what I love about Rick and the team that we have built, is that it's really about coming together around this mission to make the world a better place and a more connected place. And so, Rick, thank you for coming on today. And I'm going to let you share a little bit while we're here on the commercial. We're back at 34. And so just share about what what brought you here and what you're thinking about when it comes to contact mapping.
Sure. And thanks for having me on here. I think we're all taught a great big lie, when we grow up. We are told that in order to be successful, it's all on us, it's all on our grades, it's all sort of me, internal. And that sort of it sort of masks over a great truth that, we're a tribal species. We work together in teams, we play sports, we we achieve great things with other people. And any person who claims they're a self-made person is lying, because some of the biggest forks in the road are those introductions that happen, or that person that believed in them or gave them a chance. And all the way through college, I was so driven and really focused on my own grades and how that was going to shape my own career, that I didn't hear a very sage bit of advice that was, once you leave college, your network is going to be the most valuable asset you have, which is crazy when you're in college and they're focused so much on GPA, your resume, all this stuff. But after you leave and you realize just the potential that exists in the people that you're with is extraordinary. And the problem is, all those relationships have a half-life. We think just because we had this one moment together at some point in time that it's going to always be there, but it's not. People grow on, they find new connections, they divert paths, and someone that could have been your best friend in college now could be a complete stranger, just because your journeys have crossed or departed and diverted. And so I really experienced firsthand both the benefit of using contact mapping as my mom used to when growing up, and seeing how she had so much influence in the community. Even though she was a secretary at a school, she knew everybody and knew everything about them, and was well loved and had all this influence and all this impact. And for me, with all the grades I had, I became more and more isolated when I left college. And it was only when I started to reconnect with people and make people a priority that life started to change for the better again. And frankly, I think in the age of social media and technology, we rely so much on screens and following people that we think we're keeping up with them, but we're not. And so reintroducing this sort of concept of actual connection, actual humanity, really being there, direct messaging people, and just hearing them and actually seeing them is so rare these days, that when you actually reach out to someone, they just light up like, holy crap, someone saw me. And it's like that. It says something about our culture right now, where connection we're so thirsty for connection. We're lost in crowds, and contact mapping, both as a tool and as a philosophy, is a way to really bring more meaning and more strong connection with people.
That's so awesome. And it's so, no matter how crazy great your pedigree is, or how much you don't have any pedigree at all, that same thing is true. It really comes down to the relationships. It really comes down to getting things done through people, and having that trust and having that connection. And it, life is more fun that way. You can contribute at a bigger level that way. And so the thrust of what contact mapping is about is allowing you to create a network like that you can serve at a higher level. You can create opportunities for yourself. You can create opportunities for other people around you, and create these win-wins. And so I invite you to go to check out contact mapping for free. You can go to contactmapping.com/free. If you're listening on Clubhouse, if you're on Facebook, there's a link in the comments. You can hit that up as well. But go and see what this is about, because it's powerful stuff.
All right. We are back. It is Tom Chenault, and it's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. And I hope you've all bought all of the unbelievable 4-year career books. Brooke's got some books, and I can't even find the book with me in it because they gave them all away here or sold them here at the office. But there it is right there on your screen. That is that's the best one of all. It's completely rewritten, and that's the one you want. And if you contact us, we'll be able to get you a copy, and I will either forge Brooke's signature or something. So it'll be exciting. But attractionmarketing.com, you definitely want to go there. Take a look at what he's doing. I just looked at it. It's not nearly as expensive as I thought it was that day. I want you to all know that
now you're a break. I just went. It's free. Everything's free. I went to the website. It's all free. I signed up.
So I was so poor that day, I couldn't afford free, Richard. And that was frightening. And I was so intimidated by a guy from MIT, and now I'm working with one every day, and I'm still intimidated. And we are so unbelievably fortunate in this segment. We're gonna pivot, because I think that if the product is free, you are the product. That's Facebook, that's LinkedIn, that's Twitter, that's all of them. And I want you to think about that a little bit, because all of you have all your contacts in your company CRM. Well, guess what? You leave your company, all your contacts are sitting there. Think about salesforce.com if you're working outside and you're working anything else. The minute you leave your job as a pharmaceutical rep, they turn you off. You've got 3 contacts left. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yet you all think that you've got control of your database, and you don't. And what do you guys think of that? I mean, obviously, I want your input too, Richard, but these guys that are smart, that understand the big picture here, not to intimate you aren't, Richard, but I think I was anyway. I stand by that. What do you guys think of that? Isn't it just scary as hell?
Well, I think it's really scary because, we're no longer in the era where people will work at the same company for 30 years. Like I grew up in upstate New York. GE was a massive company, and it was very common for people to start there and end their career in one place. And, we know, millennials, Gen Z, everyone is the turnover is so high that you might only work for a company for 2 years, 1 year. And all of your memories and associations with whoever you're talking with, the relationships you're forming are attached to that company email and database by which you get turned off there. So like 10 years, you might have cycled through 5 companies and there are 5 resets of all that data going away. And Facebook and even like social media platforms, we think Facebook will be here forever. It might be here for another 5, 10 years. But as Richard Brooke said, if you're thinking about the long game, 50 years, like I'm going to be alive for another 50 years. I'm not going to MySpace, you can't go back in mind. AOL, they shut off AIM. Every one of those platforms eventually deprecates. And if you're thinking about the long game of people that you're going to be in your life for 10, 20, 30 years, you can't trust that data to still be there. There's always this, well, if it's on the internet, it's there forever. It's not true. A lot of these big platforms go away, and even the web archive doesn't keep everything. So if you find that, oh, remember that one conversation I had with Richard, it was back here, and you go back and it's just gone. And I know this from firsthand experience, because not only when I left college, I didn't make a backup of my emails, but one time I had a failed upgrade, even with a backup, and I lost something about 100,000 emails from like 1995 to like 2005. And that was incredibly frustrating because whole conversations with people who I was great friends with, I have no memory of. And therefore it's very hard for me to go back and sort of like find that information that I needed to reconnect with that person I cared about. So it's incredibly important to not let your data be in either a company silo or a public social media platform that could and will eventually go away. And so anything that's very valuable, you got to figure out a way that you can retain that for the next 10, 20 years.
What do you think of that, Ferny?
Absolutely. I completely agree. In fact, when I got started into digital marketing and building my business online, that was the first thing they taught us. It's like, you got to own your list. And so that means have your own email list. Like if not everything else goes away, at least you can shoot an email to everybody that you're connected with, especially if you're building a brand, and say, hey, if you want to connect with me on this other platform that I just moved to, because this one went bye-bye, you can do that. And then having something that's more personal, like contact mapping, where you have personal notes about everybody you have a personal relationship with. It's so critical. And for me, it actually, like, getting deplatformed is actually, network marketers should be very familiar with it, because every platform network marketer has been on, there's been a lot of spam and stuff for people that are doing network marketing the wrong way. That obviously creates a reputation for our space, but it also creates restrictions. People get banned, people get removed, people get blocked because they're using the platform in a way that the owners of the platform don't like it. And that's happened at every single platform. And so, having this happen on a whole higher level is surprising, but it isn't, because that's kind of been the experience of at least one part of the network marketing space that is not utilizing social media effectively. And it kind of sometimes ruins it for the people that are trying to build relationships and are trying to build their business in an ethical and authentic way. But it's always, you're not in control of those rules. And so, network marketers were deplatformed from Google ads back in the day when I was running Google ads and advertising. Deplatformed now, obviously there was stuff happening on MySpace, got deplatformed there, got deplatformed on Facebook. Now, what was funny is I saw a post on social media, on Facebook actually, about another social network, an alternative social network to Facebook. And someone posted saying, hey, I love this social network, but be warned, if free speech is what you're looking for, careful what you wish for, because there's a heck of a lot of spam on that network. So it's kind of like a, double-edged sword. And so every platform you're on is going to have some level of regulation, especially if you don't own it.
What do you think of that, Rick? Did you raise your hand, Rick?
I did. I did the little digital Zoom hand, so I apologize. I was trying to be polite.
That was really cool. What the hell was that?
little cute. Yeah, I mean, and it's Facebook will publish in its privacy and its data openness initiatives how it has to ban somewhere between 1 and 1.2 billion accounts per year because people will auto sign in, spam bots will sign in. So when you're churning 250 million accounts per year or per quarter, you can't be doing that manually. So you could just be doing, Mr. Goody Two Shoes doing nothing wrong, and you could all of a sudden lose your platform with no recourse. You could submit things to their support team. They have a list, a mile long to go through. So I very much, even though people think, email is not cool anymore, and phone numbers are why, I'm so in Messenger. I use Messenger all the time. I don't want to be slowed down to get a phone number. It's like, well, what happens if they go or you go and you have no way to find them? You have no ability to get back to this person you've been having this long conversation with. And it's happened to me. Like I have some Twitter friends like, oh crap, I don't even have your phone number. So like, if you just decide to not show up, I literally have no way to get in touch with you. I don't even know where you live. And so all these things become very, very problematic. So we need these pointers to other people in different ways, not even because you're doing something bad or nefarious or, in the gray zone, but because just stuff happens, right? These algorithms will temporarily block you for some flagged word that you didn't think mean anything. And you might be gone for months. Meanwhile, your business, which depends on that, which you put all this blood, sweat, and tears on, is stalled. And you have to kind of quickly and rapidly go around somewhere else.
Well, I'll share something. On Facebook itself, even before all the stuff happening recently, before COVID, all that, I've had my advertising account disabled 3 different times. And it's because they confused some of the messaging that I was sharing with the spammers. Because, there's sometimes the language or the words are similar. And that's automated. It's all the bots and the AI and the machine learning that's, catching me by accident. Then I have to appeal to Facebook and literally beg them like I'm a peasant to a king, beg them to let me back on. And I even teach this to the higher level students in our mastermind. It's like when you talk to Facebook, don't be self-righteous if you want to get your account back. You got to speak to them like they're the king and you're a peasant. And speak to them very nicely on how much you love them. It's kind of funny, but it works because the people on Facebook, one of the biggest problems I have with Facebook, aside from anything we're going to talk about, is that the number of employees and people that they have on their company to support this massive social network of people, their team is so much smaller than Walmart's team and the number of employees that they have to support their revenue. Facebook's revenue is way bigger than Walmart's, yet Walmart has way more employees to support all the people because their business is people to people. And I think one of the mistakes Facebook is making, and any other social network, is that they're choosing profitability over giving people the opportunity to connect with somebody over the phone or directly over there. Because when you get something disabled, and if it's an accident or it wasn't, you got caught up in something, there's no one to talk to over there. Especially if you're an entrepreneur running your business, there's no one to talk to, and you got to jump through a lot of hoops to finally find somebody, an outer somewhere in a international country that just simply tells you, I can't help you. That's a different department, and we don't talk to each other. So they have a big problem with wanting to minimize and automate as much as possible and minimize the size of the team. I think they need to expand their team so that they can actually, have people connecting with people, because that's their business. If they're saying we're about connecting human beings, well, how about you connect us with somebody at Facebook that can help us when we have an issue?
They're lying. All right, Richard, I know you have to have an opinion.
No, I barely got out of high school. I'm not going toe to toe with these.
I know. We were going MIT, GED. Yeah, so that is so funny. Yeah, I know it. I was thinking, Diane Hockman said that in the comments. I thought, yeah, she's exactly right, man. It is not the genius. We have a few, and here's another one. What do you think?
The thing that concerns me the most, you can think what you want of the decisions that have been made to deplatform some really high profile people. But the thing that actually scared me far more than that is the number of accounts that got disappeared with no commentary whatsoever in whatever sweeps were happening across all of these platforms. And there is no doubt in my mind that all kinds of babies got thrown out with the bathwater in that whole thing. And you have exactly what Ferny said. There's no recourse. There's nobody to talk to. They can shoot first and ask questions later. And your entire business could get blown up if you are not paying attention to this conversation. And I really do. I think it is a life and death conversation for entrepreneurs to be paying attention to this stuff and to have ways to connect, to own your list, to have real relationships that are connected outside of social platforms, in addition to on social platforms, right? I'm not saying get off this stuff, but if you don't have a way to carry those conversations, if whatever profile blows up on any given day, you got a big, big problem waiting to happen to you, I think.
And we're going to go to a break, but I'm going to tell you, well, here's my advice to you over everything else. Be memorable enough that if you do get kicked off of one of these platforms, people come and find you. That's that simple. You have to be that memorable, and you're not going to do it with a click or a pithy little GIF or whatever you call them. GIF, biff, tiff. I love you guys. We're taking a break. We'll be right back right after this. Genesis Communication Network. And it's at the commercial.
All right.
Isn't this a blast?
It's the best.
So that was a whiff.
That was yes. So Brooke, what do you think about contact mapping?
I think that if I would have logged, remembered, and stayed in touch with every significant contact I've made in the last 45 years, stayed in touch could mean, send them a Merry Christmas message. Doesn't have to be a chat, but just stay connected enough so that they remembered who I was and I remembered who they was. If I would have done that for the last 45 years, I'd be a multi-billionaire. I think I would have built a $20 billion network marketing company. I left 99.99% of them on the table.
Me too.
Didn't stay in touch, didn't remember who they were, didn't have their contact information. I believe that our net worth equals our network. And I've coached some college kids, that I was mentoring before they went to college, and they're like, Uncle Richard, I'm going to college now. What should I do? I said, here's what you do. Nobody cares what you learn in college. Nobody's going to hire you based on what you learned in college, unless you're going to be an engineer, a doctor or something. But these were business people, right? Nobody's going to hire you based on your business stuff, your marketing stuff you learned in college. There's no cheese down that tunnel. Yeah, go to the classes, take the classes, learn all you can. But the real opportunity in college is network. Like, come out of college with 500 or 1,000 great relationships where you not only know the kid, but you know the kid's parents and what they do for a living, and you know the kid's aunts and uncles and what they do for a living, and you have all of that knowledge going into building a career.
Yeah.
That's a launching pad for anything you want to do. But a degree?
It's table stakes. That's it, right?
Yeah.
At most, it's table stakes anymore. And I think that's the difference, is what you make of it, and the relationships are such a big part of that. 100%.
And Tom, I have to go to work. Some people pay me to talk, and I got paying clients in 8 minutes.
I find that highly doubtful, so stick around for 5 more minutes. That is hilarious. Did you hear him say that? He's got paying clients. That's awesome.
Hurtful, man.
All right. Are we back yet? No, we got a minute. Finish the commercial.
1 minute.
I 100% agree. And here's the thing I would add to that. The amount of work that is required for you to do that well isn't a whole lot more than sending them a text once a quarter or a call once every 6 months or so, and just saying, hey man, how's it going? Hey, how you been? What's going on with you? And doing that versus not, it sounds like not that big of a thing, but it's everything, because it's the thing that keeps you in their mind and they in yours, so that opportunities can present themselves at the right time, and these these kind of magical moments can create themselves in business, in life, in all kinds of things. So contact mapping is really about doing that, and it is we make it simple for you to do it. So go check out contactmapping.com/free.
Aloha.
Aloha. And we're back. It's the
Aloha.
final segment of the Network Marketing Leadership Show with, we lost Richard Brooke. He supposedly had to go to work. So everybody, if you get a chance, he's a beautiful human being, but he's quite lazy. So we are here. It is Tom Chenault. It is Ferny. It is Adrian. And his last name is Ceballos. And that is Ceballos. There we go. And that is an unbelievable guy. I knew I was going to love you, Ferny. And I knew that this was going to be a great show. And I want everybody to go to attractionmarketing.com and take a look at his website. I can feel the logic for contact mapping the company to be systemizing more. I can feel the logic for my network marketing business to be systemizing more. And he said something profound a few minutes ago. He didn't say 99% of network marketing is now online. Twice he said 100% of it is online. Because I'm telling you, we're not meeting anybody anymore. It is all from your house with Zoom or some other venue that is electronic. It's unbelievable. And if you aren't on top of it, you're behind it. Would you agree with that, Ferny?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in a digital age, and the digital age started a long time ago in the 90s. And what's been sometimes disappointing is that network marketing has oftentimes been slow to innovate, slow to adapt, while other companies and other businesses are leveraging technology and doing it at a rapid pace. Network marketing kind of lags behind because it's a human thing. This is our comfort zone. This is how we're accustomed to doing things. And unless something catastrophic happens that shoves us out of that comfort zone, then human beings will stay in that human inertia where we just sit in that comfort zone. And so, but, a few people, 15 years ago decided to get out of that comfort zone. And it made a lot of other people very uncomfortable that they were choosing to do that, because I think what human beings, one of the fears people have is to be proven that what they're doing is becoming outdated or at least working over time less and less. And, no one wants to be proven wrong. And so that's part of the resistance to wanting to shift online. But now the world has given us no choice but to shift online. And fortunately, there's so many incredible leaders, not just at attractionmarketing.com, but all over the network marketing space, that have been those pioneers and, have kind of like laid the groundwork for how network marketing can work online while maintaining the heart, maintaining the relationship, because that is the glue that holds any team or organization together in network marketing and in any business for that matter. And so, so how do you do that in a way that people feel taken care of? People feel like they're being served. People feel like they got their money's worth for what they paid, their money's worth for what they're continuing to invest to be a part of it. And so that's the balance that technology always strikes. And truth be told, in the beginning, a lot of digital network marketers tried to pretend and lied that you can build a fully automated business, push of a button without ever, talking to anybody. And that was a lie. There were some people that build massive teams with automation, but those teams also fell apart really fast because there was no glue holding them together. There was no relationship. It was all an opportunity play, and it was pitched to people targeting their weakness and targeting them wanting to find the easy way. If you're going to be successful in anything, there's no easy way. But I'll tell you, network marketing, online or offline, from my perspective, is a heck of a lot easier than working 9 to 5 for 40 years and not having much left at the end.
Oh my gosh. And you take a look at what Rick's created over at Contact Mapping. He decided to embrace high touch with high tech. That's basically what the move was there, where he's doing exactly what you said, which is going full circle to let people be more connected at their fingertips and never forget anybody. Because let's face it, what you love most about me is what I remember about you. And that's every human being. And if you can have in your fingertips the person across the table's agenda, where you're able to speak into that instead of your little trick to sign them up, you're going to win. In this Clubhouse, I am telling you, we're going to do a webinar on Clubhouse about Clubhouse that is going to blow your mind, because every day I'm now in Clubhouse and I am killing it there. But what people don't understand is that I am farming and fishing in Clubhouse. Every story that comes along, every person that's speaking, everything that they're saying that is not on Facebook or social media is now in my database. And in 6 months, I'm going to remind them of what they were talking about on January 18th in Clubhouse, and they are going to swallow their cigars. They're going to be remembered at a level they've never been remembered before, and they're going to love me like a brother, which is what I want. What do you want to say to that, Rick?
I want to respond to what Ferny said. And I agree with what you said, because people are so used to sort of talking and not being seen because they're so fighting to be the top of the pile that for someone to actually see them and remember them is again, a novelty. It's so much scarcity. But, I think we got our wires crossed as a society, right? Technology and automation was supposed to handle mundane so that way we could be more creative. We could be more connected. Like, technology was supposed to augment our humanity. And instead it became its end of itself. Like, oh, I have to check on Facebook 4 hours a day. I have to check on Twitter. I have to just be so like, I have to manage all the automation, manage all the stuff. And then so rather than using technology to become more human and be more connected, we've actually used it to disconnect us. And it's the most tragic thing. And so I think we're trying to reverse that with what we're doing at Contact Mapping. And I think it's in high need.
Pat Quinn next week. Ferny, attractionmarketing.com. Contact Mapping, contactmapping.com. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Go there now. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Ferny.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We're not gone. Stick around.
All right, we're still
Oh,
here.
We're still on Facebook. So we just got off the regular radio show. So now you can cuss.
Oh, excellent. I was
Oh man, you were unbelievably great.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I knew it. And you knew Tim, Brian McMullen's partner, that also went to MIT. Do you remember him? Brian McMullen, Tim, I can't remember his last name. And those guys did the first automated program that really worked in network marketing, that ProStep, years ago. And they got that machine working. And it's really, really kind of cool to see you two guys following in their footsteps. And really, when you get two guys of your intellectual caliber and your educational caliber embracing the world of network marketing on a relational basis, it validates what all of us dumb shits are thinking. So I really want to thank you, because it's 100% right. It's all about the human being and automating the ability to have a better relationship, but you've got to have better relationships, right, you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I wanted to share this story on the radio program, but it's okay because they can just catch this replay. There's a fraternity brother from MIT that I haven't talked to in probably 20 years. And he was upperclassman, so he was older than me. And he started a software company with his partner, and they ended up selling it for millions and millions of dollars. Now he lives in Florida, and he's an entrepreneur coming out of MIT, super smart dude. But he's been following me online. He's been following that I'm in the network marketing space, and I'm sure it was odd to him, as everybody else that I knew at MIT, that I was in this industry. But during this pandemic, his significant other lost her career in sales because she didn't have a place to do her job anymore as a salesperson. And they reached out to me, wanted to talk about the possibility of network marketing being her new career because she has this foundation. And I was like, isn't that pretty cool? That somebody from MIT sought me out, reaches me out, wanting to learn about network marketing, not as a make money scheme, not as a get rich quick scheme, as a profession for somebody he loves.
Yeah. And Rick, your wife's the same way. Your wife, she embraced a network marketing company when I met you.
Yeah.
And it is so refreshing to me because, and yeah, that was Tim Housden, Dennis. Somebody just popped up the name of that guy from MIT. It was Tim Housden, Dennis Ligon, who is an unbelievable network marketer in his own right, out of North Carolina, and his beautiful wife Sue just brought that name up, and Hammock validated it. Yeah, I couldn't remember Tim's last name, and I didn't have my contact mapping app because Adrian's using it on Clubhouse. And Daniel, if you've got an iPhone, go get the Clubhouse app and just go in there and log in, and you'll immediately be dropped in because of Adrian and I. So
Very, very cool. Ferny, do you have a couple minutes to stick around and answer a couple of questions if we have a couple on Clubhouse?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Hey, Yumi, I see you on the stage. Why don't you unmute yourself and say hello?
Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you so much for allowing me up, Ferny. I saw this, and this has been something that I've been thinking about for a while now. I have content on YouTube and obviously on many different forms of social media, like many others. And I've been really, I've been reading the terms of conditions lately a little bit different than I usually do. And I've found a lot of conflicting issues. And I saw your title, and I really want to know, is it safe on social media? How can we protect it? I just found this room, so I'm not sure how long you've been going on and if you already answered it, but what are some tips you would recommend for us to protect our content, especially when it comes to our intellectual property?
did you hear the question?
Yep. Yeah. It was fine.
Great question.
Really yeah. So what I understood about the question was about content related to, content you produce and post on social media and how you protect it. Well, one of the things that we teach our clients is if you do a Facebook Live, make sure that recording is downloaded, or that you have some alternative means of recording it, so you don't lose it. So you can also repost it in other channels as well. And so there's a multi-purpose thing you can do. You're saving it so that you have it. You're able to distribute it in multiple formats, not just video, but audio. And so I think that's the best thing you can do. Just don't depend on the social media companies to protect your content. Just like we talked about deplatforming, it comes in many forms. It's not necessarily political. And you don't own those networks. So I think protecting your content by storing it, having it a backup, and then also eventually getting sophisticated enough where you can have an email list, like where people can opt in to get emails from you in their inbox, in addition to, following you on social media.
Yeah, I love that answer. And I think the other thing, depending on what business you're in, is think about what pieces of the content and what pieces of the conversation happen inside the platforms and where you move that conversation elsewhere, right? So TikTok, for example, has, who knows how much they're going to enforce it or not, and what that looks like. But if you're in network marketing, they have put explicitly into their terms and condition that advertising network marketing is not allowed on their platform. Facebook actually has similar language, although they have pretty clearly not enforced it in any meaningful way. But I think the more you are talking about who you are, telling your story, going back to what Ferny talks about, attraction marketing, you are the product first and foremost so often before the content or the product itself is the product. And then invite them to have a conversation with you elsewhere so that you don't ever, you're not looking at a place where you are attracting the attention of any of these bots or any of these things where they might sweep through and just take a bunch of accounts down. So that's the other thing I would add to that.
Yeah. And then also I'll add something real quick. It's by you becoming an expert around your product and the subject matter around your product, like what niche or arena in the world does it relate to? Let's say you have a product around keto weight loss and ketogenesis, and ketosis, and that's, you develop some expertise, and now you can share value to your followers just in general on how to be effective and get healthier with this medium. And the product is like almost like an afterthought. People will reach out to you wanting to learn more on how you do what it is you are so knowledgeable about. And then what enhances it is the product. But they're actually buying you first before they buy any product you recommend.
Love that. Love that. Yumi, was that helpful for you?
That was very helpful. Thank you so much, guys.
Fantastic. All right, good. I know we've got a couple other folks in the room. There's no hands up currently, but would anybody else like to come up and ask anything?
And what is so cool is having these guys at our disposal, and we're going to bring Ferny and Rick back because the response has been so incredible today. And I think when this show starts to cycle a little bit, it's going to really get some legs. But we've got to be ready for anything happening. And what I want you all to concentrate on is what Ferny just said. Adrian actually trained me on every Facebook Live I do in the morning. He won't let me do it on my computer anymore because I didn't have that save button on my computer for Facebook Live that I have on my phone. And he's got me saving that for two reasons. One, now it's mine. And number two, I can repurpose it. And these guys know what they're talking about, and us old codgers don't. So listen hard. And if you don't understand it, reach out to Ferny or Adrian and they'll explain it to you.
Yeah, would love to chat with anybody. So, Ferny, actually, that's a great question. So attractionmarketing.com, they can connect with you there. If they want to connect with you and just ask some questions or hit you up, is there anywhere else you want them to connect with you?
Yeah, it's going to sound kind of funny given the context of our conversation here, but they can hit me up on Facebook. You just search my name, Ferny Ceballos, and hit me up on my personal profile, send me a message. Love to chat. It's always great to work with entrepreneurs who are highly motivated. And it's the reason I do what I do. It's because I know the impact I can make through others when they are successful and they have big teams, big organizations, and a big impact.
Now, Mark Lalonde was talking about the artificial intelligence that is running TikTok is just beyond comprehension. You think you're interacting and talking to human beings over there, and you are not. There is no humans making any decisions for it. It is all computers with artificial intelligence making every possible decision. And the way to stay above and beyond that is to develop the relationships on those people, pull them out of there and develop the relationship. Because if you think those relationships are being developed inside of that platform, you're out of your mind. That is just a catch-all for you to be able to do something with them off TikTok down the road, right? Is that what he said? I hope.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. And John Hammock, if you're watching with us on Facebook and you have a question, throw it in the comments. We'd love to see it. We're on Clubhouse Live as well, and so people are raising their hands here in the Clubhouse room. But if you got a question, especially you, John, holy moly,
he's not even following me on Clubhouse.
It's hurtful.
I tried to add you to this, John, out of respect, and you're so old school. You didn't even follow me, and I got you into Clubhouse. The guy is unbelievable.
Wasted an invite right there on John.
I wasted an invite on him, and he dusted me. Yeah.
Ferny, you are the real deal, man. I really enjoyed this conversation and just getting to know you better. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing so much value with the audience today.
We love you, man.
Love you too, guys. Thank you for having me.
Take care. All
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Everybody out of here. Too late, John.
All right, we're out of here, Ferny. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Ferny.
we're wrapping this up, everybody. Thank you so much. Great to connect with you. Feel free to hit us up on here on Clubhouse or on Instagram if you want to chat. We'd love to connect with anybody. Thanks, everyone.